She changed my bedroom lock while I was at the store, moved my stuff to the garage, and said she was doing me a favor by giving her 3-year-old my room. Her friends were already there for a housewarming. Aunt Tammy's audacity stunned me. I called a locksmith to reclaim my space and set boundaries. Approximately 1 year ago, Karen moved into the house across the street from my residence. She presented herself as an amicable individual characterized by an immediate inclination to share personal details within moments of introduction. A single mother with 2 young children, she was often accompanied by the unmistakable rumble of her aging minivan, which seemed to broadcast her arrival to the neighborhood. Our interactions were cordial but not intimate, limited to brief exchanges at the mailbox, casual waves from our respective driveways, or small talk during occasional neighborhood gatherings, such as barbecues. These encounters fostered a polite but distant acquaintance. Several months ago, during a neighborhood cookout hosted at a mutual neighbor's home, Karen casually mentioned that her lease was due to expire in the spring. The conversation occurred as I balanced a plate of ribs, listening politely as she expressed frustration about the rising cost of living in our area. In an attempt to empathize, I remarked, "I understand. This house often feels too large for just one person." My comment was intended as a fleeting expression of my own circumstances, not an invitation or offer of any kind. Karen nodded, and the conversation shifted to other topics. I thought little of it at the time, assuming it was merely a passing exchange. In the weeks that followed, Karen did not revisit the topic of her housing situation. There were no further discussions, no inquiries about potential arrangements, and no indications that my offhand remark had been interpreted as anything more than casual conversation. I continued my daily routine, unaware that my words had planted a seed in Karen's mind, one that would soon manifest in an astonishing and uninvited manner. On a quiet morning several weeks later, I was startled by a knock at my door. Peering through the window, I saw Karen standing on my porch, accompanied by her 2 children and several pieces of luggage. Confused, pendulum swing between curiosity and apprehension, I opened the door just wide enough to facilitate conversation without granting entry. "Karen, what are you doing?" I inquired, striving to maintain a neutral tone. She tilted her head, her expression suggesting that I was the one behaving unusually. "We're moving in," she declared matter-of-factly. I was momentarily stunned, struggling to process her words. "You're what?" I asked, hoping for clarification. "You said at the barbecue that your house was too big for one person," she replied, as if this explained everything. "My lease is up and I figured this would be perfect. Just temporary until I find a new place. The kids are exhausted, can we come in?" I stood frozen, grappling with the audacity of her assumption. At no point had I extended an invitation for Karen and her children to reside in my home. The notion that a single, vague comment made in passing could be construed as an offer of cohabitation was bewildering. Composing myself, I responded firmly, "No, Karen. That's not going to happen. You cannot move into someone's home without asking." To my astonishment, Karen appeared genuinely offended. Her face contorted into a mask of indignation. "Wow. Seriously? I thought you were one of the nice neighbors. I'm a single mom, we're in a tight spot, and you're just going to leave us out here like dogs." Her tone was laced with accusation, as though I had betrayed some unspoken neighborly code. I maintained my composure, explaining that there were several motels in the vicinity and suggesting she reach out to friends or family for assistance. However, Karen was unmoved by reason. She stormed off, her children trailing behind her, and shouted over her shoulder, "You'll regret this." Her words carried a menacing edge, but I dismissed them as an emotional outburst, assuming the matter was resolved. I was mistaken. Later that day, my phone buzzed with a message from a mutual neighbor inquiring why I had kicked Karen and her children out after promising to take them in. I was floored. Karen had apparently circulated a narrative throughout the neighborhood claiming that I had explicitly offered her a place to stay, only to retract the offer at the last moment out of spite. She had crafted a tale of victimhood, positioning herself as a struggling single mother betrayed by a heartless neighbor. Determined to set the record straight, I accessed our neighborhood's group chat and posted a measured, factual account of the events. I recounted the exact words I had spoken at the barbecue, "This house often feels too large for just one person," and clarified that I had never extended an invitation to Karen or anyone else. I emphasized that her attempt to move in was entirely unsolicited. The majority of neighbors responded with understanding, and several reached out privately to express sympathy for the awkward position Karen had placed me in. However, a vocal minority sided with her narrative. One neighbor wrote, "It wouldn't kill you to be a decent human. She's a single mom, you have space, what's the big deal?" Another accused me of lacking compassion, their words dripping with judgment. I endeavored to remain unaffected by the criticism, focusing on my daily life and maintaining my boundaries. However, the situation escalated in the days that followed. Approximately 1 week after the doorstep confrontation, I emerged from my home one morning to find my trash cans overturned and the contents of my recycling bin strewn across the street. Initially, I attributed the mess to raccoons or stray animals, a common occurrence in our suburban neighborhood. But then my mail began to disappear, missing for 2 consecutive days. The following week, I returned home late one evening to discover my car windshield splattered with eggs, the yolk and white congealing in the moonlight. The incidents felt too deliberate to be coincidental. Determined to protect my property, I purchased and installed a security camera on my front porch. Within 48 hours, the camera captured undeniable evidence: Karen's children sneaking through my driveway under the cover of night, giggling as one of them hurled eggs at my car while clutching a carton. The footage was unmistakable, their faces clearly illuminated by the porch light. The following morning, I confronted Karen with the evidence. Standing on her doorstep, I presented the video on my phone. "Karen, your kids were caught egging my car," I stated, keeping my tone even but firm. She glanced at the footage for a mere 3 seconds before crossing her arms defensively. "My kids wouldn't do that," she insisted, her voice defiant. I replayed the video, ensuring she could see the clear images of her children. Her expression barely shifted. "You had a camera watching my children?" she retorted. "That's disgusting. You're a creep." Her attempt to deflect responsibility was astonishing, transforming her children's vandalism into an accusation against me. Speechless, I chose to disengage. I returned home and promptly filed a report with the local police, providing the video evidence and a detailed account of the events, including Karen's attempt to move in and her subsequent smear campaign. I made it clear that I was experiencing harassment and sought to prevent further escalation. Update 1: The police get involved. To my relief, the police treated the matter with seriousness. An officer visited Karen's residence and issued a formal warning, instructing her to ensure her children stayed off my property and to cease spreading false narratives about me in the neighborhood. The officer also advised me to continue documenting any further incidents. I believed this intervention might bring the matter to a close. It did not. Karen's response was to intensify her efforts to ostracize me socially. She organized a block party, an event to which every household on our street received an invitation except mine. The exclusion was blatant, and when I inquired with a neighbor, they confirmed it was no oversight. Karen had told others that I had weaponized the police against her children, framing me as an aggressor. Her narrative gained traction among a small but vocal group of neighbors. One afternoon, as I walked past her house, one of her children shouted, "Snitch," from the front yard, their voice dripping with disdain. I chose not to engage, recognizing that responding would only fuel the conflict. Instead, I continued to document every incident, maintained my routines, and focused on preserving my peace of mind. Update 2: The blessed move out. 3 months after the initial confrontation, a development brought unexpected relief. Karen moved out. A "for rent" sign appeared on her lawn, followed by a moving truck the next day. I did not inquire about the reasons for her departure, but neighborhood gossip suggested disputes with her landlord over unpaid rent and privacy issues. Whatever the cause, her exit marked the end of the turmoil. The new neighbors who moved into her home proved to be courteous and reserved, restoring a sense of calm to the street. The neighborhood group chat returned to its usual mundane exchanges about lawn care and lost pets. The vandalism ceased, no more overturned trash cans, missing mail, or egged windshields. My security camera, once a necessity, now recorded nothing more than the occasional passing car or stray cat. A few neighbors who had believed Karen's version of events still cast occasional wary glances in my direction, but I have made peace with their perceptions. I am confident in the knowledge that I acted with integrity, upholding my boundaries in the face of unwarranted entitlement. No individual, regardless of their circumstances, has the right to claim another's home without consent. Had Karen approached me respectfully with a request for assistance, I might have considered helping in some capacity. Instead, her presumption, followed by her attempts to manipulate the neighborhood and involve her children in a campaign of petty revenge, left no room for compromise. Final thoughts. This experience unfolded like a peculiar blend of absurdist comedy and unsettling drama. It underscored several valuable lessons: the importance of establishing and maintaining clear boundaries, the necessity of trusting one's instincts when faced with unreasonable demands, and the lengths to which some individuals will go to manipulate a situation to their advantage. I learned that being a courteous neighbor does not equate to being a doormat, and that saying no is a valid and necessary act of self-preservation even when it elicits discomfort or disapproval. The installation of a security camera proved to be a prudent decision. 1.